like when Trump kind of made that complaint about they sort of got in the system, they feed each other, they even kind of very common. Banking and so what I used to find is that I was doing the experiments, but most nothing would actually so then I kind of realized that, the only place to go is information not this doctor trying to protect everyone. So yeah, so my client called me about now I realized obviously I was then free to kind of look away at conflicts of interest. So I'm like a free agent, so I negotiated my exit with the bank. It was one of those things I'm not allowed to talk to the press about certain things that happened. I had to give like a particular line to my team. I'm not allowed to yeah, now I'm be able to you're banking for 20 years. A lot of these, the one thing that banks are they're not competitive. So like compare one bank to the other, some of the fees are quite similar, the rates are also quite similar. Then if you're going and getting something like mortgage, if it's sufficient, normally you can even negotiate that. Sarah. Hi. Hi. Good to meet you. You're based here? Oh, right. Cool.
I'll get you some water. You want water?
Yeah.
I'll get you some water.
Oh, brilliant.
So now you're full-time?
Sort of part-time. So I have an investment company called Generative Capital. And yeah, so I guess it feels like I'm doing two jobs full-time because there's also quite a bit of overhead. So the Dutch government, all of those were relationships that might apply. So it's kind of so even when I kind of go to Malaysia, it's sort of like kind of a lot of introductions. So it's kind of at least so far it's been what's the word? It's just like each side sort of would be supporting each other. But yes, you can do it to make it so think it's the fear of that they can easily so like in Canada they one time
Yeah.
They probably don't want to ask for a password. Put it in your mouth somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So, exactly. So kind of they have this, because they have this you look at how Amazon behaves, right? Amazon, you probably read, you have if you're a seller selling your goods, and you do well,
Amazon basic.
have you come across Amazon Basics? So it's very, so Amazon have their own brand, and they have another 2 or 3 brands.
Oh, I know. Where your shop
Yeah. So if you want 34 minutes,
Yeah.
send your gift to them, use them, and they have done data about legally you might be able to find it, right? But the reality is but yeah, like, you need to have the financial resources to
Of course. Yeah. But they have already signed your right away when they decide to enter Amazon.
or maybe their product is like clothing, you might be basing it right around, say, like a large range.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Gabby from Pundi AI, and I'll be your host today. So, thank you all for coming to the AI Summit 2025, and we're here hosting with our friends from Flock and the Generative Beings. We're super happy to share this stage with them, and well, you're all very lucky to come in and presence our guests today. Just as a safety note, there's an evacuation route and fire exits outside, and for everyone to know, there's no smoking or no vaping indoors, please. So let's stay compliant and follow the rules for the venue. Restrooms are outside, and please make sure to help yourself with food and beverage at the back. Last but not least, we would like for you to share the hype, and please take photos of the event. You can tag us all up in Pundi AI and Pundi X accounts, also for the Flock account and the Generative Beings. Now, just to set the tone right, I would like all of you to please help us welcome our founder, who's been shipping through multiple cycles, Cheah, to give us a very cool intro. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gabby, and hello, everyone. So I have a question. Who came over from KBW? Whoa, okay, so at least half of you came over from Korea. I think I managed to see some familiar faces, in fact. So welcome, guys, to Singapore. And I also have another question. Is anyone from a non-Web3 background, like pure AI, apart from Shivang, of course? All right, so welcome everyone, and very happy to be here. And of course, first I would like to thank our co-organizer from Flock. So thank you, Flock. Yeah, so Flock are the guys in pink and white, and we are in purple. And of course, we want to thank our very dear friends, which have been organizing many events with us, the Generative Beings. So represented by a very well-dressed friend of us. So yeah, thank you, Shivang. Yeah. All right, so I think for those of us today, we are all interested in AI and also data, and this is the place for us to discuss about this. And we do have a very esteemed guest today with us to talk about it and also to share the panel. And I think I will not delay it anymore and allow our next guest to say hi. Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, please let's give a round of applause to our next guest, Shivang, who will give us just a quick introduction about what he's doing.
Thanks, Zach. Hi everyone, good evening. I know it's going to be a Web3 powered packed week for you guys who have already attended a couple of events. Thanks a lot for coming out today. I'm Shivang, I'm founder of the Generative Beings, and as Zach said, this is like a pure play AI focused organization. What we're really doing is trying to create a space for AI founders and builders to find the platform and a community to scale their efforts. Right? We've been doing a lot of events, something similar to this, along with partners, hyperscalers, AI companies, and also startups. And we have now reached over 10,000 members across Southeast Asia. If you are an AI founder or a builder or in the overlap space of Web3 plus AI, please do check out the platform. And it's what we are trying to create into sort of like a product hunt for Southeast Asia and get the stories of founders and builders out there in the market. Right. This is basically what the community comprises of. Majority are founders. Many of you would know the top logos, but the fun parts at the bottom, and most of these are early stage companies. They are making money, they have customers, and they're building into the generative AI space or the AI agentic space, in the SaaS space, and trying to solve different problem statements. And majority of these logos that you see here are here based in Singapore. So we do sort of like a survey of sorts when people create their account on P2P platform, and it's very clear. Obviously, there's bias as well here, but everyone is using AI, right? And this doesn't mean that everyone who's just being out of school or someone who's not in the tech space. These are senior leaders. These are people from SMEs. These are everyone across the globe from 40 countries who are telling us that AI is part of their day-to-day work. And 50% of them actually find a positive outcome from AI. How to measure it is still a question, but you will find n number of articles and research papers from the top companies which talk about how AI is disrupting the entire space. And our intent of starting TGB was to figure out how to help these founders and builders get in front and try to connect with their customers. There's a lot of talks about millions and millions of jobs getting displaced, everything's created like an end of world scenario. But think about it, if there are no jobs, there's no money to be spent on the platforms and the products that are being built, right? But because of this disruptive shift, what generative AI has brought, the biggest challenge that people are basically facing is the shortage of AI talent. So it's a chicken and egg problem, but the point is the opportunity itself is there for us to actually go out, upskill ourselves, even if you're not from the world of AI, but basically figure out how to upgrade our existing skill set and be ready for the AI workforce. And that just means that the work will be displaced. The kind of roles that will be in the future will be quite different. I haven't covered those in the slide, I think I should. But it's very clear that the AI talent gap exists, and this is where we find the community and the ecosystem that we're trying to build is going to help you guys find the AI talent for the Web3 plus AI projects that we're trying to build. We're trying to grow as a scalable proposition. So while we do events, it's impossible for us to run 300 events across the year, across the globe. So all of this learning, skill building, and potential opportunities to get visible is happening through the platform. So our entire members directory, all the AI tools that are listed by the founders in the community, all the AI projects that people are working on, everything is there. We're running hackathons, we're running workshops, and this space is a collaboration between TGB and Michael, who's the CEO and founder of SQ Collective, and we're trying to create a Gen AI lab ecosystem here so that people come, they build, they find the community, and then we help them to get showcased globally. Right now it's more Southeast Asia focused, but we hope to become global over the time period. We've done a couple of events, 70 is more than a couple, but the point is like, we have been finding different opportunities and avenues to work with different partners, talk about the different problem statements to solve, and then try out different formats. So panel discussions, keynotes, a summit like today, masterclasses, roundtables, hackathons, you name it, we're trying to do all of it. And we're not just in Singapore, we're across Southeast Asia, we're trying to expand as well. But the idea is that all of this happens eventually to bring the community closer, but the key proposition is that the TGP platform becomes your go-to space for anything that's happening in AI. I'll skip through this slide. We are still figuring out what mission should be. But welcome to the GenAI Lab. This is a space. SQ Collective is a co-working. I'll invite Michael to talk a bit about it. What we're trying to do is we're trying to help founders and builders come into the space, find the mentorship, find the guidance, get help, get showcased, get visible, and actually connect with their customers. And all of this we do across the week. We've got whiteboarding sessions on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We've got free co-working space for TGB members on Fridays, and we're doing n number of events. So we've got 5 events lined up this month, starting with this. I'll invite Michael to come in and say a few words.
Thanks everyone. So very quick one. We run this space because we want to encourage more people in Singapore to start building with AI and in the space of AI. And so we believe strongly in what's called community first, which means that you can lean on the community to figure things out together, right? To learn from each other, to build with each other. And I personally feel this very strongly after running this space for the last 3 months together with Shivang, is that the energy really rubs off. Like, I want to start an AI startup soon, right? In the near future. And so we run, like Shivang said, a lot of these events where for all spectrum, across the whole spectrum, people who are new to it, people who are domain experts, not sure what AI is, all the way to people who's been deploying like traditional AI ML and thinking of how to use generative AI for industrial use cases. So we engage everyone along the segment. So while you guys are here in Singapore for Token2049, if you're in the area, Wednesdays we do vibe coding. So if you want to hop onto the bandwagon, come by on Wednesdays. Today's Tuesday, right? Tomorrow we are hosting Build Club. Build Club is basically a community of people building using vibe coding tools. On Friday, we also host AI founders. So if you are interested in people, and they tend to be more Web2 space, but if you are interested in exploring what the interface is between Web3 and AI, do drop by, maybe you can exchange some notes. If you're in the area, you need a place to work, we are always open for business, so do drop by and enjoy the night. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll pass on back to you.
Thank you guys. So now let's open space for our first panel. The universe wants the future of AI, so please help me welcome our moderator, Zach. Joining him on stage, we have Tiffany Lai, VP of Ecosystems and Partnerships from Iris, Stephen Darwin, Director of Communications from Numbers Protocol, Abby Huang, Head of China Story Foundation, and Oliver Shen, co-founder of Ghana.
Hi guys. All right, so I'm very happy to be in this panel. And why don't we start off by having a quick introduction of who you are and the project that you are building.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Tiffany. I'm the VP of Ecosystem of Iris. We are a layer 1 purpose-built data chain focused on providing verifiable and programmable data. And our goal is to create data that is verifiable on chain and create the basis of this new AI economy.
Thanks for having me. I'm Stefan from Numbers Protocol. In the next 5 years, 80%, 90% of content will be AI generated, and we create a solution for people to trust and to trust the content they see on the internet. So the core value of what we do is provenance and trust. I guess that's it for now. Let's talk.
Hi guys, this is Abby. I'm the head of China and Story Protocol. So what Story does is we are a EVM compatible layer 1, focusing on bringing intellectual properties into programmable assets on chain. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Oliver. I'm the co-founder of Gata. Gata is a crypto AI company trying to build a decentralized business model into providing two fundamental resources the AI industry needs. One is data and the second is compute. For data, we are currently collecting ChatGPT conversations data. The promise is the entry to information or to the internet has been shifted from search engine to chat engine. So we feel chat conversational data is pretty valuable. And compute is just another fundamental resource the AI needs. And we are trying to play a decentralized playbook in the provision. Thanks.
So, question for everyone. Now that there's a lot of AI companies, AI protocols in the Web3 space, if you are actually building a new protocol, not the one that you are currently building, what kind of direction will you go into? What kind of services that you want to build? Yeah. So maybe Oliver first.
Yeah, actually I haven't thought about this question. So let me see. Maybe I will try to find some smaller niche because you can play a very big ecosystem play. For example, layer 1, layer 2 for reputation, transaction, and payment. That's a big play. So you do have need to have all these resources in place to do that. So I'm trying to find small niche where you can tackle a real small problem to get the thing going, but I don't actually have a very specific thing in mind to do that. Yeah.
How about the rest? Yeah, Abby.
Yeah, this is a trick question. I think there is still a lot of stuff Story can do. So I guess I'm very loyal to our thesis. So we still want to focus on creating real use cases for intellectual property to go on chain, but rather than focusing more broadly from a foundation level, maybe working with a project that can actually targeting I guess certain groups of people, whether it's like smaller individual creators, artists, or it's like let's say like big labels and like SM Entertainment, YG of the world. Yeah, so TLDR, try to be a bit more focused and bringing real use cases of IP on chain. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Web3 is the easy way to say it is ADHD. Everybody thrives of attention. So the best way you probably could go is go with the attention, go with the narrative. But personally, same like Abby, I personally think UGC, user generated content, is the future, and I would still go into that direction.
I think for me, even with Web3 and AI, we're super early. So with Iris, even after, let's say, unlocking the 3 trillion data asset, there's a lot more to do. Like, a lot of people are talking now about humanoids, robotics. How are those LLMs, data, how is that going to be interoperable? So I think there's so many layers to this Web3 and AI vertical that it's pretty infinite. But I think right now we're still at the beginning phases of trying to figure out how to get this data on chain.
All right, maybe can I just thought about something. So I don't know if anyone here have experience with Open Router.
Open router.
Yeah, basically it's one single API that as a middleman automatically routes to different services of LLM inference. And I feel it's a pretty successful business model. But one pity is I hope it will be happening on chain because that seems quite natural. Routing can happen on chain, and it doesn't involve a lot of technical challenges.
and it would be pretty amazing, the middleman, how routing happens and how economic incentive, play in could happen on chain. So that's one thing that I just thought of.
Right, so open router, something that people can build on. And for Abby, Story Protocol is actually building the world's IP blockchain. When you see AI company use creative content without permission, what's the real cost to creators and how big is a problem?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. So, putting AI asset in a traditional Web 2 setting, it's already very, very difficult for individual creators to actually able to monetize their intellectual properties. For instance, like if me as an artist, I put my piece of art, like uploading that onto the website, then basically everybody can do it, right? And they can even, in the age of AI, it's getting a lot more complicated because you are basically getting a picture that's AI generated, then you are not sure whether it is remixed by another AI tools, right? But what Story is trying to solve or trying to help is we actually help individual creators to be able to monetize their assets on chain. So we have this infrastructure called PIL, Programmable IP Licensing. What it means is we created a very simple SDKs for individuals to actually able to license everything on chain. So whether it's in the form of audio or visual, visual also like let's say a video or a GIF. Yeah, they can do it one click, license it on the Story blockchain. Because the beauty of blockchain is there's not going to be dispute over who will be the first who actually put this stuff on chain, because it will be recorded by the block height, right? Then what we are doing is first we are able to help them with legal protection. So we have a set of US copyright legal framework that's actually already embedded in the smart contract itself. Yeah, the other part would be distribution and monetization, meaning that you can actually decide how much percentage you want. Basically, you want to charge all the derivatives or the use of the IPs. Yeah, let's say I'm an artist. I just want everybody to use my piece of art. It's basically like a public good, so you can choose the free sample, meaning that you can allow anyone to create any UGC contents. But if let's say I want to monetize my party PFP, for example, I want people to use it, but still I want to get derivatives or royalty income based off my party. Then I can set up a set of rules, how much I want to charge, let's say maybe 10% of whatever income generated from that within a certain time period, whether it's infinite or it's like 1 month. So we have this set of legal framework as well as the programmable templates that developers can use. But of course, we've been talking to a lot of the Web 2 and Web 3 creators in the space. A lot of the challenges will be like, who will actually be the first to adopt this set of principles. We realized that it's always like a standard distribution with a lot of the long-tail artists make up the maybe 90%. However, we still need to work with the top players first. That's why you often see the PRs with Story announcing partnerships with a lot of the Web 2 companies, because only when we are able to convince the big players to actually come into the space, then we can gradually help the smaller projects as well as the builders. I know this is a long answer. Hopefully this helps to answer some of the questions, and looking forward to hear the answer from the rest of the folks.
Yeah, I remember the summit that you guys organized in KBW. That's a very good one. Yeah. All right. So Tiffany. So at Iris,
You're actually building a programmable data chain infra. What's your take? Is this current model of free data extraction sustainable, or are we heading for a reckoning?
Yeah, of course, sure, like long story short, it is not sustainable. I think we're seeing a lot of the problems like what Story is seeing. There's now with generative AI, different types of data being used. We're kind of already seeing the cracks with different lawsuits, gray areas in terms of the data that's being pulled into the models, and there's lack of transparency. So I think that is why Web3 AI, there's a lot of projects like Iris trying to solve this problem. So for Iris, being able to have programmable data and letting people, creators or projects set their own rules on the data will make it a lot more clear for how data is being used, and also it can unlock the liquidity of that data and having it be value generating.
I like the way you say liquidity of data. All right, Numbers protocol is actually tackling content authenticity head-on. Let's say I'm a photographer or a digital artist. How do I prove that my content is authentic and control how it's used in AI training? Walk us through, Stephen.
I have two cases that I could tell out of my head out of this. One of them is from our users back in 2021. He found that his image has been used by other companies without his authorization. So long story short, he went into a legal battle. The fun thing is he went into some copyright enforcement agencies, and in the court, the judge actually acknowledged his copyright. But at the end of the day, he lost the legal battle. And that's due to one reason. The judge said that there is no one way for him to provide a definitive proof that that work is his. So, I mean, it's outrageous, right? The copyright is acknowledged, but the ownership is not. And earlier, I think 2023, there's another similar case. And I think lots of people heard about this. The creator's name is Robert Koneski. He found that one of his photos, actually not one, a few of his photos is being used as a data set for AI training. And this time in court, he actually was able to show a definitive proof of that. And the problem is, he still lost because the court rules that there is no way to prove that he did not give the consent that his data is not to be used at that time. So there's this two kind of problem. You need to have a definitive proof that data is yours and image is yours. The second is you need to have a standardized way to show whether you want to give consent for your data to be used or not. So what our proposal is exactly that. You take your creation, use a platform, register it, and then you will have first a definitive proof of your asset, of your data, and on that you also could have the history of it, everything of who creates it, when, what creates it. For example, if you're also using AI partially to create it, you'll be able to tell that in the metadata. And you also have this standardized consent form in each of these files, stating whether you want to allow this data to be used to be used as AI training or not. I think if the creators, the photographers that I mentioned previously could have access to this tool earlier, they would have a better standing in the legal battle.
All right. And for Gupta, you guys are working at the intersection of applied AI and decentralized data. And from a technical point of view, how do you see decentralized data access specifically improving model accuracy and reducing bias?
I wouldn't say decentralized data necessarily improves accuracy or bias. It's simply an alternative way, and maybe it could be more fair and cost-effective way of accessing data. It's just simply if you if you look at the data industry, at the end of the day, it is being provided mostly by individual humans. But you have tons of intermediaries, skill AI, etc., playing the role of middleman, coordinating different individuals providing that data. So decentralization simply, to me, means a change of the coordination and the business model, using blockchain or a different mechanism to coordinate individuals in how they manufacture and provide data. So hopefully that provides a fairer way and more transparent and more cost-effective way of providing data. And I would say accuracy and bias that must hinge a lot on the data itself, because data is another technology that you have to do R&D with. Yeah.
All right, so in 2026, what are your respective protocols going to focus on? Like, what is your kind of like key effort to build on in 2026? So.
Okay. In 2026, we want to pretty much, one of the new focus is to go to market with GPT Tuner, because it's something everyone can play with and contribute data to, and we see it as a major defensive position for OpenAI, because OpenAI takes 80% of the market share of chatbots, and increasingly so. We haven't seen a good competitor till now. And data is their accumulating defensive position. The more data they have, the better they understand what user wants, and they just roll out buy now feature yesterday. So you will see more of Google Play in OpenAI. Yeah.
All right, and when we talk about data, we think about this company called Scale AI. Do you guys think your respective protocol can maybe one day challenge Scale AI? Like any one of you?
I don't think so. Very challenging. And also the data industry changes a lot. Scale AI nowadays is considered probably providing some of the low quality data. The Macor, who else? There's another company emerging in the US. And even more forward looking, data is no longer being manufactured by humans, because AI is smarter than humans. So the data manufacturing itself will shift it to less human intense and more inference intense.
What about story? Do you guys think you guys are there too?
Yeah, we are going to be aggressive. Yeah, so I'm not saying we are beating Scale AI, but we are, because Scale AI is acquired by Meta, right? So it's already very centralized in a sense. And I know Meta acquired it partially because they want to eliminate competitors, in a sense. So for us, we incubated a project called Poseidon. So it's a decentralized AI storage infrastructure. So basically, the vision for Poseidon is to be the Web3 version of Scale AI. But speaking of story more in general, because IP is a 80 trillion asset class, I would say, the latest number. So anything can be IP. If you think about like animes, music, even your data is your own IP, right? So apart from incubating like projects like Poseidon, we are also working on different aspects of IP. One part would be, especially riding the current wave, is trying to find real use cases for IP RWA adoption. Right, like now you go to different conference, people keep throwing the buzzwords of stablecoins as well as updates, like onto your face directly. But if you like talk to those guys, I mean, sorry, no offense, but most of them are talking about traditional financial assets like debts, credit loans, securities, treasuries. But we think outside of that, in a Web2 setting, it's already very creative, right? You see asset managers working on, or like investing, private equities, investing music labels, movies, arts. So we want to work with these kind of agencies as well as asset managers, projects, whoever has already have a very mature business model in a Web2 setting, and we try to tokenize their own chain as well. Yeah, so TLDR, incubating ecosystem projects, focusing on different aspects of IPs.
I'm not prepared for this. But I would say maybe no. For now, I mean, there's a bit of cross, but that's not exactly our focus. Like I mentioned previously, 80%, 90% of data will be created by AI in the next 5 years. Experts say that, me. But anyway, we want to focus on the remaining 10%, 20% data created by users. So in the futures, probably people won't question whether this work, this image is created by AI or not. But people will want to prove that real human, they want to prove that their work, their creation is theirs and it's not AI created. And yeah, that's the focus right now, I would say.
I think for Iris, obviously our founder is very ambitious and want to, tackle not just decentralized storage, but also centralized storage. But I think we're still very early as an industry in the data Web3 space, mainly because in order for all this data to be again, liquid, or you can find value in this data, it has to be easy to access, right? So right now there's still a lot of issues with that Iris is trying to solve, such as the retrieval of the data if it's on-chain, the pricing of the data, making sure that it's consistent, and it has to be, creators have to be able to use it very easily. So that just like when we decided to use Spotify instead of downloading illegal music, it has to be easy enough and faster, easier, and cheaper that it's, they rather use that versus steal it, right? So I think we're a long ways away from that, but I think Iris heading towards mainnet, heading towards becoming on mainnet and working through our programmable data product releases, we're working towards that step.
Okay, so maybe we can open to the floor. Maybe one question from the floor for the panelists. Anyone? Yes.
Shall I shut up?
Go ahead.
So, like a debate that I often have with folks is that we all care about control of our data until someone gives us a $5 voucher for something. I was wondering if you might want to comment on do people's actions really match up to what they say when it comes to keeping control of data?
Right, so pay the person enough, $3, $30, or whatever the person is ready to give up his or her data or privacy. Yeah.
To me, I think that's a choice, because I feel like when I talk to people hey, when Instagram asks me, do I want ads to be pushed to me, it depends on the person, right? I always say, no, I don't want my data to be exposed, but I have a friend that says, hey, I love that because they know exactly what I like, so they're pushing me things that I want, right? So with Web3 and AI, what you can do is you can have encrypted data. You can still sell that data, but then it could still be, there are other ways to make sure that it is protected or within the scope of what you want with the ability of programmable data. You can kind of set the rules, set the contracts, and have that scope there.
Depend on the person, I would say. I think everyone here are aware of WorldCoin, right? You scan your eyes, you get paid their token. I think lots of people are signing up for that. I haven't yet. It's not that I don't want to. It's like I would say one thing to creators: respect your data. That's the most important thing. So whatever you are doing, it's not about letting your data being used for free. I mean, people could pay very, very cheaply for it as well. It's not about free or not. It's about respecting it, putting a better price to it, and protect it.
All right. One more question, maybe from the floor. Anyone? Okay. So I guess that's it. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thank
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you to this amazing panel. It was really great hearing you guys. So next, please, our next keynote brings privacy-first AI training to the real world. So please give a warm welcome to Jiahao, CEO at Flock.io. We're all looking forward to hearing more about it.
Hey, everyone, my name is Jiahao. Need a prime angle for my speech. Oh, we'll just thank you and then, oh yeah, cool. Alright, so my name is Jiahao, the CEO and founder of Flock. We're a private AI solution company, and you probably see, well, lots of places us playing critical roles in terms of building the AI infra, right? Bridging the Web 2 and Web 3, and that's exactly the topic I'm going to be talking about, and how Flock as a company that we're bridging, the needs from both Web 2 and Web 3, and why this technology is the thing that can actually work on this. So back to the very beginning and why we built this company, it's mainly because I worked in traditional industry for like 10 years, working on data sensitive industries, like having those data silo issues where, for example, in banking, not even between different entities, like even within one company, between different desks, your data cannot be shared. So that made a lot of issue in terms of how can we build a larger model without actually consuming enough data to train it, right? So that becomes a big issue, and that's why we started to build this platform and this technology called Flock. In the full term, is federated learning blockchain. So that's the solution where actually in traditional Web 2, there's federated learning. But there are still some issues where if you read some of the news about decentralized, about those federated learning solution providers, or some who claim that they're using federated learning, right? For example, one of the famous input software company, they're claiming using federated learning to train your local typing prediction, but actually they're just sending your raw data back because that's basically easier to train models, and nobody will know it because it's centralized control. That's why we think, okay, so this is a cool solution. Federated learning is a cool solution. Decentralized training is a cool solution, but there's no way that people can govern it. There's no way people can see it, what's actually behind it. If Google is doing this, then Google is just doing it themselves. They can actually just transmit the raw data because that's easier for them. So that's why when people say don't be evil, it doesn't really mean they won't be evil, because if you don't discover it, then they are not evil, but actually they can be there, right? So that's why we want blockchain to join the whole training facilitation and to make sure that, okay, every training of the whole AI, decentralized AI happening with the blockchain technology, that we don't have to trust any third party, don't have to trust any centralized party, that we're actually seeing them on chain clearly. So that's a general idea about our paper in the beginning. And then we started from 2021. We drafted our first, academic paper. It's not just some random white paper and putting on preprint, right? We don't do that. We drafted proper academic paper, won the best paper awards on the top AI conferences. And thanks to our background, all in the traditional research and academia, which built the whole platform. That's called Flock. So okay, yeah. Okay. Right, so the whole thing, if we look at the deck, it's basically talking about why we shouldn't run a world that's only being controlled by two centralized powers, right? So in this whole story, the important thing is how Flock as a player into the AI training infra platform that can decentralize the whole data to make sure everyone can own and compute and control the models. So we had this whole proposal, for blockchain for AI, especially using the proof of stake-based AI training. That's not only just for incentives, which is a traditional Web3 play, right? But beyond that, It's importantly as it's a system security mechanism, because if you're going to build an open source project, open source framework, there will always be people trying to scam you, trying to be malicious to the system. So you need a mechanism so that the whole system can be secure. So all this mechanism, all from our different papers published, talking about Flock, how to maintain the high performance in decentralized training. This is quite a cool paper if you're interested. Like in even with very high malicious ratio, Flock using blockchain technology, our accuracy rate can still be high, while in centralized ways, right? If you have a data set which comes with 40% of malicious trainers or malicious attackers, that model definitely fail. So that's the beauty of having the decentralized model. And especially for other papers that we published for TAI and also DKFL, right? We are very open to all the tech stacks that can be added into the Flock tech stack. For example, DK can be one of the solutions. So DKFL is one of the initiatives we actually promoted and got granted by Asian Foundation in early 2023. So far, we're still the only AI infra being granted by Asian Foundation doing this deAI initiative. And for the team, so lots of our teams here today, we all come from various backgrounds in Web 2 and Web 3, especially heavily in Web 2, like from legal side, from government public sectors, and also from corporate, and from my old boss, from Marika, and also from Parliament. Yeah, this is our set of our core team, and it's because we are the team that can probably the few teams in the whole world, in the whole industry that can reach the needs from both Web 2 and Web 3, because with the technology itself, that's a pretty neat for it. Collaborating with a lot of companies and publishing lots of papers backed by DCG, Lightspeed Faction, which are all the top. Well, that's also a good example, right? Lightspeed is like the top Web 2 venture that can invest a lot into the AI space, and DCG is basically the biggest Web3 investor in terms of the BTC reserves, let's say. So and our clients including United Nations, UNDP, Alibaba Cloud, QN, and hospitals in London and more. So we can come to some of the examples that we we'll come to some of the examples that we covered recently. That's maybe easier for everyone to understand. For example, the initiative with UNDP, that we are now the official partner and probably the only AI partner, strategic partner for UNDP, that we're pushing 20-ish initiatives globally to build those AI infra with our partners, with UN local offices in different countries. So lots of them are quite heavy. For example, some financial infra, for example, some liquidity provision for the on-chain DEX for some of the stable coins, right? And also some of them are quite fun, like gorillas. They want some of the countries, they want to control their gorillas and try to make sure the wildlife is safe. We have this whole facial recognition and DID system for those gorillas, and we are bringing those gorillas on chain. So I guess that's the first batch of gorillas that's on chain. So stay tuned. There's lots of things that's happening with this, and I'll say it's only with Flock, right? Only Flock that can build within the deeply within the Web 2 tech stack, and then still bring them on chain to make it the whole full cycle of Web 2 and Web 3 together. Similarly, Agent Science. This is also probably one of the top, one of the first in the world. This is a Korean research firm doing drug discovery. They're trying to using AI to do the drug discovery. But of course, in this world, right, if you're not Google, you won't have enough data to train your drug discovery AI. Because lots of those data, they are fragmented. They are like everywhere in different hospitals, different countries. You can't just unite them together. This is the exact case why Flock can help here, right? We are actually collaborating with Agent Labs together, which is funded by 2 professors from Korea University. And then we united with hospitals from London, from Hong Kong together to build this model so that it's a safe model with Flock that can train all the algorithms and then to funnel the model to make the model strong enough that can do drug discovery and actually can save lots of lives. So this is a very cool example, and probably that's the first in the world because before you wouldn't expect that different countries can work in such sensitive data all together into one research company. Yeah, and there's a fun one that working with University College London. It's called Baby 4D. And for those who probably are having babies soon, right? Some of you just wanna have some spoiler pictures to see how my kids will look like. Yes, so exactly. So this is like a retail app. So we don't only just work with enterprise companies, right? We do more than that. We also, publish with those enterprise to build their retail apps. For example, this is one of them. So you can take your ultrasound from your scan, and then we'll render a face for you to see, how your baby will look like in 10 months' time. And of course, your ultrasound is highly, highly sensitive. You don't want to send it over to an API. Send it over to somewhere in send it over to a server somewhere in SF, and then there's a guy sitting behind to see your data. Ooh, that's your ultrasound, right? No. So we want to make sure everything is securely stored only in your own device. And there's another one. This one's super cool as well, and that's an initiative together with the Animal brand, one of our investors, to build this VC deck screener. So and it's live. You can use it today. And it's also live for them to screen all the decks if you want to get invested by Animal brands. Yeah, so it's basically all the information, of course, for their investment committee notes, right? It's highly sensitive. No two different firms will share this information between each other. Even if you ask your investor, can you share with me? They will say no, it's confidential, right? So all this information being trained and collaborated together to train this engine, what we call PayAndy. And then, yeah, nowadays you just submit your deck over. They will assess your deck based on all the history, information, and decision by different VC firms, and then give you the rating, see how much you can get, and then maybe you'll be invited to a conference call with them if they think your project is interesting. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and there's a disclaimer because our lawyer's here. So everyone just make sure you read it through and tick the box if you understand. Yeah, that's pretty much a lot about Flock. Yes, and today, because we are, thank you Pundi AI to invite us to co-host together. So all our friends are here, all our teams are here, ranging from our BD team to our partnerships team, growth team, and also our lawyer. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And thank you so much.
That was awesome. So next, please help me welcome for panel number 2, AI and Web3 marketing, growth hack or game changer. Because it's time to talk signal versus noise growth. So please welcome our moderator, Hamed Fakirsai, Vice President of Global Development from Luna PR. Joining him on stage, we have Julia Duffel, Global Ambassador at Shivang Event Fleets at Win Privacy and founder of Reflections and Collections. J.H. Jong, co-founder of Chief Marketing Officer at ATOC Labs. Tristan Teo, co-founder and Chief Executive Officer at Alpha AI. And we also want to welcome Philip Rylander, co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Cookie3, core contributor at CookieDAO. Thank you.
Are we waiting for one more?
Yeah, we're waiting. Okay.
Thank you.
Wow, full house. I love it. My name is Hamid Fakirsai. I am the VP of Global Development at Luna PR. We are a full-stack PR marketing agency based out of Dubai. We have offices in London and New York, about 100 people. And yeah, Token2049, super excited. Big day tomorrow. Let's get this done and go ahead and do tomorrow. I'm gonna let everyone on the panel introduce themselves and what they do, and then we'll get into some questions.
if you want to start. Yeah.
Sure, hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Jewel. I am a global ambassador at Shivang, which is an education and community platform for onboarding women and non-binary folks into Web3 and empowering them to have successful careers in this space. I am also a contributor at Women in Web3 Privacy and have a broad background in marketing.
Very cool. We can just go down the line.
Yeah, my name is Cheah. I'm co-founder and CEO in the ATOP. ATOP is a Web3 reward-basis advertising platform. We already raised 1.5 million users now, but we didn't PG yet. So yeah, that's it. Nice to meet you guys.
Hi, I'm Tristan. I'm the founder of Alpha AI. And what we do is we scour social media for market-moving signals, catalysts, information, research, and traders. So traders love Alpha because you can search for you can ask any questions, and you know, like even any of these companies here, if you don't know what they are, just ask them, and we'll basically tell you like what the project is about, what is the token like, if it's a good time to buy, sell, etc.
Hi, I'm Philip, free co-founder and CEO and contributor to Pundi. So we are a data analytics company providing marketing analytics for over 300 businesses in crypto. On top of that, we are the creators of Token2049, which is like InfoFi platform providing mindshare about over 10,000 tokens and running snaps campaigns, which are like performance-based paywall campaigns with creators. Thanks.
Awesome. Very, very distinguished panelists. So I guess the first question would be more related to the topic, then you guys can relate it back to what you do. So AI and Web3, how is it changing marketing? What are you guys doing specifically to use AI and Web3 in your marketing initiatives? I guess to help with your specific objectives, right? So you specifically you're looking at a small niche right now, right? Women in Web3, obviously growing very fast. But how do you start? Where's the starting point for you from building a community like that? And what are you using today to sort of scale that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I have a few different perspectives, and my main background is as a copywriter and community builder as well. So I use AI a lot to customize text, so I come up with content, but I can never publish something that I haven't edited myself. I also have some advanced prompting, and I tend to give a lot of information. And with the filter on top of that of trying to protect my community's privacy as well. Not necessarily women broadly, we're generally quite safe, I think, in many places in the world, but more marginalized parts of our communities like queer people and trans people, and if you're traveling with certain a background or a religious background in a different part of the world, it can be unsafe to share your data. So I always want to try to be quite general, and then I need to come in as the human to customize and personalize the communications that I'm putting out there. And as a community builder, I cannot automate community or care or connection, but I can use tools to help me gather information and collate things, and then work with it as an individual.
Sorry. It was sort of an open-ended question, so we can go down the line, but it's amazing, right? Like the evolution of copywriting with AI specifically, obviously you need the human component. The human element is so important, but when it comes to copy, it's a game changer. But we can go down the line. Yeah, if you want to answer next.
Yeah, sure. So basically, we do a lot of stuff with AI, and basically on one hand we are using AI to for recognition of different things in terms of content relevance, the quality of it, like insights provided within specific content, as well as language recognition. On the other hand, we are fighting with the AI slop, so it's kind of a two-way sword, because it's like continuous, constant work without any end. Every time kind of bad actor actors, so-called, are trying to kind of game a system we've built. We have to kind of catch up and chase them and vice versa. So it's like constant race between us and AI users that are actually trying to manipulate the system we created. And that's why actually we also are implementing few different things on top of the pure attention rates and metrics, like capital involvement, which just like significantly raises the cost of manipulating the system. And there is this like direct correlation between the quality of the system and the cost of actually manipulating the system. That's why we believe this is the actually only right way to do it. So we got a lot of AI on like both ways to detect the good things and to fight with like bad actors.
I'm gonna weigh in here. I'm gonna be a bit controversial and just like share the hacks that my team found. So we realized, so Alpha is like a social listening product for traders, right? So it's not actually a marketing product, but we realized that if you are struggling to get views and growth on CT or crypto Twitter, Alpha has this unexpected use case where if you post, let's say, content about cookie or about, I don't know, plasma, right? And you want people to care about it. You could go to Alpha, click on plasma, and you look at all the people who just talked about plasma. And you can be like, hey, I also wrote about this. You know, you may have made a video or an article, and you can literally click on them and you can see like what else are people, like who is saying, who wrote similar stuff as you, and you can be like, I agree, or like this is what I wrote too, and it's a hack. I try not to share this with people because the users of Alpha that told me that this hack told me not to share, but it's great, right? Like we're all here in person, so yeah.
I agree with your explanation, but we do the little bit different things. For my opinion, data is the key for the AI. So, example, our project, the name is ATA. We gathering big data to utilize advertising. So, I think the most key important thing of the AI is, I think, the data. Yeah.
So here's the double-edged sword, though. When it comes to data, there's manipulated data and there's clean data. How do you disseminate what, you know, the most accurate way to address your market would be? Sorry, I just wanted to follow up with you. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think we need to distinguish about the data, example, the low quality of data and high quality of data. How we distinguish this is important things is we need to analyze it and optimize it, and analyze it and optimize it again. That'll be the better data we can get. That is my.
Yeah, and I know, Philip, you were mentioning something earlier about, you know, manipulated sort of marketing initiative because of, you know, agents start running in there and you get botted. You mentioned that you guys have something specifically you do to sort of prevent that. Can you tell us more about how it's affecting the overall industry when you look at specifically like token airdrops and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I think generally I will be also talking about that at the keynote after, but generally there was this like whole evolution of different marketing, go-to-market tactics and campaigns in crypto. So we were having this like quest platforms, then more like engagement farming, then InfoFi with the mindshare, and they were just like shifting from each other because at the end, like after some time, they were all gamed somehow by the bad actors. So the people that are trying to extract the value need to provide it in a like fair way for something. So like, this is like natural mechanism, let's say. It's just like an experience universally everywhere on every market. that if some specific metric is determining the reward distribution, for example, it has to be it will be gamed somehow, or it has to be gamed, but the actors will be trying to do so. So basically, what we are doing, we are raising this cost of gaming it by adding different other metrics like on-chain, TVL, volume, activity, loyalty, stickiness. So the things that are actually much more costly to be gamed and much more time-consuming, for example, for the bad actors. But obviously, there are multiple ways of actually handling that. There are different tactics, so cross-engagement, AI, content slops, so the content created by the AI, basically copy-pasting different things and using different prompts to actually kind of skip the time of creation of the content. On top of that, there are even whole organized groups of cross-engagement. So there are multiple ways of handling that, but AI, I would say, is not, on the one hand is actually helping us with this recognition, and on the other hand, we have to be in this constant race with bad actors that are also using the latest version of every AI tools that are coming up every single week actually.
Awesome. Tristan, you're on the other side of this, right? So you guys are on the analytics side. How do you, social listening? Tell me about what's important for you on the social listening side to understand what helps tokens move or projects move, makes users come. What are signals that you look out for? What are signals that everyone should look out for to disseminate?
Is this from the perspective of marketers or
both? From a retail for me, right? How would I what would I look for?
Right. Yeah. Great question. Before that, I'm just curious, how many people here are with projects? Okay, and how many are traders? Marketers? Investors?
Shy crowd.
Okay, I just want to know the crowd I'm talking to, so that I don't go off too off. Okay, so it seems like we have a good mix of everything. For us, we are not incentivizing any bidding, right? So we're just helping people objectively see what is interesting. And the truth is, we can't avoid AI slop, right? Because I think one thing we did really well is we have no bots, but now humans are acting like bots. Because humans are let me just automate and create some content out of it, right? And what we realized is that the context of the content matters. So, for example, let's talk about trading as a use case. So someone has way more weight if they have been making good trading calls, right? They say, hey, I think Bitcoin is going up from here, and it went up, right? Or maybe it's Bitcoin is going down, and it did go down. So we are basically doing this thing called contextual reputation, where we're tracking, okay, can you trust this person in this context? And basically what we did is we simulated the performance of the tokens after they showed it, and we track it, right? So now we can see, I wish I can show you, but I'll show you later off the stage. People love it. So you can literally see if let's say Philip has been making really good calls, and some people are really good at 1 day time frame. So they show something, boom, price goes up 20%. We know some people like that. And then there are people who are long-term fundamental analysts, right? They're I think this is going up, and everyone's what the hell? No one's talking about this. And then 30 days later it goes up. And you can see on the chart record, after 30 days, hey, on average it's up 30%. But on the 1 day time frame, down 5%. Yeah, so it's not very good at, so you contextualize what they're good at. So we didn't have all this figured out from day one, but what we realized is that if you try to assess good content holistically, it's very hard. There's also some use cases, right? A shill, right? So just a lot of tickers, it's spam to some of us, but it's good for some. So yeah, I think that is one way we're combating this. For marketers, then again, I would say that a lot of crypto projects eventually have a token, So it's important to also identify which traders you want to say good things about your token. And traders, like the good traders, retire. Okay, let's face it. The good traders retire, they don't come back again. So there's this constant wave of better and better traders that are coming up. And yeah, you can use tools like this to identify, hey, who's really good? Who could be the next harvest money for keynotes, and then get them as marketers, the even more long term. Go out to them and be like, hey, we've got all this alpha, and we'd love to work with you. And at that point, they might not be anybody, but they would be like, okay, yeah, cool. Let's do it. Why not?
Super cool, man. I love that. So, Julia, sorry, I sort of skipped over you because I had a mic. So you've worked with projects around the world, right? What have you seen from a community building perspective, right? What have you seen in terms of mistakes or people that have done it right? What have you learned, through your experience?
For using AI?
Using AI, marketing, blockchain, like on-chain marketing or AI marketing.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Okay, so just good examples of people that are doing it right. I do think Shiva is doing a great job. I think Solana Super Team is doing a great job. There are a lot of projects that get a lot of love on the timeline. Like if you think of Matcha, for example, they will throw an event and the whole timeline is going crazy. I don't work for that project specifically, so I don't know whether that is actually translating into meeting their KPIs, but certainly if, for me as a person who interacts with a lot of newbies in Web3, and we're onboarding all the time, something that is easy to understand and you can easily get a lot of content around and people that are enthusiastic, like talking about maybe not a token, but a project, if you get KOLs or just non-KOLs, people talking about you, then someone that is looking for a DEX, for example, they might come across Matcha really quickly. And then they'll just use that tool. And because it's also easy to use, then that's an easy way of getting user acquisition quite organically. And I'm not sure about who's using AI actually in a good way. I think that's quite often in the background. I mean, Cookie3, yes.
So you mentioned something there, you talked about newbies, right? So on the flip side, how do you, education is one component of it, right? So helping them understand what to use, what not to use, which DEXs, which DEXs, etc. But also, how do you protect them from the factors, and how do you, go through that education process of understanding, okay, this might be, bot engagement, and so is that something that you would sort of help guide them through?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the first 4 weeks of Shivang are what to avoid and what not to do. I think Maggie, our founder, says do not share your private key. I don't know how many times in one of the classes. That's something very basic. Also, women in privacy, one of the big things that we do is educate people on safety. As I mentioned before, it can be unsafe to be acting in crypto, not just because your wallets might get drained, but because your data might be leaked. Someone could have information about you and target you in a way that you don't want, that is unsafe for you. So we try to educate people just through also creating kind of a toolkit for tools that you can use and projects that you can engage with that protect your privacy, so that you're more in control of your on-chain action and your data.
Data that Cookie wants, that Alpha wants, right? You guys want that data.
Okay, I have a curious question. What is the wallet that you teach people to use?
We actually don't use only one specifically. There are a lot of like tutorial videos that from a few seasons ago, but it will also depend on who we're partnering with. Well, Base was the sponsor for the last season, so a lot of the things were in, first of all, Coinbase Wallet and then about the Base app. But part of the program is to make sure that people know their options, and a big value of ours is decentralization. So we'll also talk about the difference between, and the responsibilities that self-custody comes with. So we'll do a few different pods.
Awesome. So I want to be cautious of time here. I want sort of open the floor. You guys can add any final comments. Anything you guys want to, if anyone in the audience has one thing to take away from this panel, what would you want them to take away? It doesn't have to be necessarily related to AI and marketing. I know some people are really in that niche, so please.
I want to go back to the title, AI and Web3 marketing, growth hack or game changer. To be honestly, I think most of it, because when we're using AI for the tool with who can use well in AI, that would be the best solution, I think. We already have a few experience when we're using the AI and do the analysis and adjust it and do the campaign. We achieved more than 50% ROI before when we're using the AI. That is just one case we did before. We have lots of cases we utilize AI and get some of the good results. So I think AI, we need to use it, but AI is not the Superman, so we need to use that by the tools and human. We can be a strength within the relationship with the customers. I think that two key when we combine together, then we can use it well, and the industry will grow up well too in the marketing part. Yeah.
Well said. We'll start at the end there.
Yeah, so I think it's all already like changing the game in terms of measurement part. So like mindshare, for example, wouldn't be able to be actually measured without AI. So we are already using some like common and daily things in our lives that are actually already powered and created thanks to existence of AI and LLMs. So basically, I would say it's a game changer. But on the other hand, it's a huge challenge to actually address on the other hand.
Test. I'll quickly weigh in. We realized that in crypto, marketing is really about making your community or your users feel like they matter. And honestly, the easiest way is to get them more views from their tweets, because like everybody's trying to tweet something, or at least sometimes they try, and it sucks if like nobody engage with them. So I mean, like I think different parties have tried to use AI or incentives to do that, but if you genuinely engage with them, I have seen very small ground up L2s, L1s that are doing really well because they literally build a real relationship with people. Like regardless of how big or small, and sometimes they grow to be really huge figures. So I think really the unscalable way works the best. AI just like greases the wheels a bit, but yeah, ultimately it's a relationship game.
I wanted to come back to two things that Jay and Tristan said. One was AI is not a Superman, and also humans are starting to act like bots, which is true and also a little bit scary. And so I would try to encourage everyone, especially people that are using data for marketing and also building tools with AI, and that is community, connection, care. Wait, there's a fourth one, culture. Culture is really hard, probably impossible to automate, and care is something that can be easily lost when we automate and when we use bots or AI, because they are not more intelligent than us and might be faster in certain things. So not forgetting that care matters, and the people that are going to be your users or your community
and they deserve that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, ChatGPT writes my messages to my mom, so I need to get back on writing my own content. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to all of our panelists, and catch them on stage.
Thank you.
Wait, one more. Here. Official one. Thank you.
Wow, thank you guys. That was a very insightful panel, very fun to hear. So guys, also help me welcome again Zach for an insightful keynote on fueling the decentralized AI revolution. And please make sure to stay and hear because he's gonna drop some big alpha and you can share it with your friends because we're live streaming on YouTube and our PAI account. Thank you.
Alright, hi everyone who understand what this means. Non-Singaporean only. Alright, so this is hello to everyone. Am I correct? Okay, so Pundi AI actually started way before, and we were called Pundi X. That was in 2017. So that was kind of like the predecessor, but the predecessor is still operating in the space. So we are a financial infrastructure point of sales service. And we started in 2017 and has been expanding all over, and we have been listed on Upbit, Bitdom, Binance, Coinbase, and etc. So these are some of the things that we are doing. One of them is partnership for USD1. We will be announcing, am I supposed to say, something with Circle for Binance, on Perps, and etc. But of course today I'm not here to talk about Pundi X. I'm here to talk about a new project that we are incubating. We call it Pundi AI. And from the name you would obviously know that it is the same team with Pundi X, the team that has started building since 2017, and we have started incubating a AI project called Pundi AI. Alright, so the innovator's wall. So Alex has a breakthrough idea, but the problem is that high quality training data is very expensive. And the dream is to crowdfund the data, build the agent, and make money. The contributor's dead end is that a data scientist, Sarah, creates a valuable labeled data set. But her data set, once sold, it's gone. And how can she resell over and over again? Therefore, we realize there's a broken economy whereby innovators are starved of capital, creators are trapped in a one-time model, and data is treated as a illiquid static asset. So we want to make data sets liquid. The key point is that a revolutionary platform to tokenize high-quality AI data sets, and thus creating a vibrant, transparent, and decentralized marketplace. This is what Pundi AI Data Pump and AI Agent Launcher is, transforming static data into tradable on-chain asset. So what are the 3 steps? It's actually very obvious for those of you that are in Web3, those of us. One is actually to tokenize the data set. Anyone can launch a DTOK on Data Pump. Choose the base pair and set the parameters. Second, you can crowdfund your data set or the agent that you train with your data set. Basically, let the crowdfunded data set or agent achieve bonding curve.
And obviously, each purchase would actually raise the price. And finally, when it's launched, it goes to a DEX. And so far, it's pancake, but we are aiming for more. So the ecosystem flywheel is that developers have an access to an expanding pool of affordable liquid data set. Contributors actually have access to funding. And the community actually becomes an investor. So as community members, if you buy the DTOK, you actually become a co-owner of the data set or the agent that is trained using the data set. And for developers, it allows capital to be raised, a marketplace, which is the Pundi AI data pump, an affordable, a competitive, open market, and the data quality is ensured. And for community, for people that are looking at the platform, you can actually act as a incentive to train the data, to contribute, and of course, to be an investor. The number of tokens that you buy correspond to the ownership of the data agent or the data set. The pricing is based on bonding curve, something that we are familiar with, and it comes with MEV protection and dual contracts safety. So these are some of the numbers. We have over 120,000 data sets on the platform, from very high quality data sets to data sets that are more day-to-day. For example, data sets from CT. So you can actually find data sets of CT, and maybe you can train your agent to behave like a certain personality that you want. We have over 28,000 data contributors, and so far, because it's a new launch, we only have 120,000 tokens or agents launched, and only 16 that have completed funding. You can use the AI data marketplace to look for the data that you want. You can use Data Pump to actually launch the train agent or the data set, and you can also use our AI agent launcher to train your agent. The future is here, so if you're a data creator, an AI developer, or an investor, please go to data.pundi.ai and take a look at what you can do there. And obviously one more thing, so we want to prepare a $1 million prize pool for tokens or AI agents that are launched on our platform. Basically designed to supercharge adoption of the DTOKs on our data pump, and each qualifying DTOK will share the $1 million prize pool. And here we have a trailer to share what it is about. Alright, so technical difficulties. Okay, so the DTOK challenge is basically if you can actually train an AI agent, or you can actually use your data set to crowdfund to over 5 million worth of pair in Dexus, you would then be rewarded with 10,000 worth of tokens. So that is the DTOK challenge. So for those of you that are interested, you can go to data.pundiai or our socials to look at the details. So again, train the AI agent or the data set to reach $5 million market cap to receive the reward. And so once again, thanks. That's it.
Thank you, Zach. Now please, let's welcome panel number 3. Privacy first, AI, can decentralized models beat ChatGPT? Please welcome our moderator, Shivang Gupta, CEO of the Generative Beings, and joining him on stage we have Jackie Tan, CEO of Tiger and Wolf, Calvin Tan, Chief Technology Officer at Pins AI, Tina Chopra, Chief Executive Officer at Adley AI, and Mackenzie Matheson, Regional Head at Area AI.
Hi, nice working. Hello, hi. Alright, hi everyone. I know it's been a long evening. I hope you guys have had some drinks and food. Let's come to Web2. Right, with a hint of Web3. Yeah, right. We've got some interesting founders and builders today, right? These are leaders who are focused on scaling AI solutions in their own verticals, and the intent was, as you can see, to basically have a discussion, have their point of view of how they feel that how does decentralized AI tools versus your ongoing private and secure LLM models work. Right? And before we get in, we just want to have like a quick introduction, starting with Jackie, then Calvin, Adley, Tina, and then Mackenzie. Sorry. Yeah, Tina is Adley, so it's the same. Yeah, Jackie.
So, hello everyone, good evening. Good to see all of you this evening. Thank you, Pundi, for having me here. So I'm Jackie from Tiger and Wolf, and what we do is that we're a boutique consultancy firm for AI solutions. Before this, I was developing a suite of privacy-focused products centered around identity. In my free time, I'm part of a creative collective, and the idea of Gen AI in creative field is quite a divisive area. So looking forward to talk about this. So yeah, thanks, Jackie.
Yeah, Calvin.
Hi, good evening. Hello everyone, my name is Calvin. I'm from Pines AI, and we provide financial industry and insurance with a purpose-built AI platform for them to power their private and agentic workflow. And currently we have clients across US, India, and Hong Kong. And I think the main value proposition down here is that we think a lot of industry players are really late to the game, so they need a framework to get them started fast. So that's what we provide.
Thanks, Calvin.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Tina. I'm co-founder and CEO of Adley AI. I'm an ex-business journalist, and now I'm using all my previous knowledge in content creation to make AI agents for marketing. So we help solve problems for enterprises who are looking for a secure solution trained on their own brand voice to create content. It could be for their socials, it could be videos, images, or anything across the value chain. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Mackenzie Matheson. I'm from Area. We're an AI orchestration platform, so our focus really is providing this secure foundation for enterprises to build, manage and deploy AI agents with as little code as they want. It's been an exciting journey so far. We're about a year old, celebrated our year birthday just 2 weeks ago. We've been seeing some pretty incredible results and growth. So it's a really exciting time for us at the moment.
Thanks, Mackenzie. So we've got like really diverse set here, right? Mackenzie is from Australia, right? He shifted to Singapore. UK. Oh,
London, right? Yeah.
Cool. I don't know why I have Australia in mind. But see, like we've got folks moving across the borders, right? And this is quite a thing because a lot of top LLM and AI companies are also setting up shops here, right? Clearly, Southeast Asia and especially Singapore is the gateway to Southeast Asia for them. I'll start off my first question with Mackenzie, right? And then we can come back in. The APEC enterprises, right, that you're talking after, and that's where the focus is as well. They're demanding data segregation, transparency, decentralization, or are they just focused on the purchase decisions? Like, you know, like just get this for us.
Yeah, I think they're focused on all of those problems. Can you list them again?
Yeah. So, like basically, like the transparency, right?
Yeah.
That decentralized AI provides versus the saying that give us the centralized models and give us everything inside.
Yeah, and I think there are many that we're speaking with are focused on those problems, but trying to strike a balance of how do they solve them. I think if you look at the decentralized models, there's some great benefits around transparency, the impact it can have on the tough regulations out here with data sovereignty, being able to control that. But it's not necessarily a silver bullet. And ultimately that's where we're seeing that many organizations are looking for that balance or optionality of a mix of the both.
And also because like the focus is more on building the AI agents, right? So it's the workflows and the automation rather more than the data set that's being utilized.
Yes, the ability to use the right components for whatever the use case is. I think often the question is like, is there like one killer technology that's going to fit everything? And that's not really the demand that we're seeing. We're seeing that there's the individual components that are going to fit individual use cases, and organizations need to be able to balance that.
Just for folks who don't know like what area, if you have an analogy, they're basically a better enterprise-grade version of anything. Right?
Yes, I would say there's some key differences as well. So NA10, absolutely fantastic at automating fairly defined workflows. They certainly have the upper hand when it comes to having a whole bunch of pre-built connectors. They come from this RPA space. Our strength really is around embedding AI in your business processes and having that flexibility to do that while doing it in a production-ready and secure manner. I think that's something that is really often forgotten with some of these tools that are focusing on these projects where you're just building a prototype and not really thinking about what's happening next. So that's a big thing for us.
Absolutely. All right, thanks. How many of you guys in the audience have had challenges creating content at scale, on-brand content, SEO content, looking at, okay, how can I get discovery on the internet? Great. So this is what Tina and Adley AI are trying to solve with the way I describe them and the way I think about them is basically like they're your CMO AI agent and they're going to create content as much as you want, on scale, on brand, SEO and GEO optimized. I'll let her talk about it, but the question to Tina is that does the decentralized approach help or hinder achieving consistency, right? It's different, right? Because like you're focused on creating copyright data, brand specific data, something that Coke will want to do will be very different from Pepsi, something what Gucci would want to do will be very different from LP. Right? So how do you think that like when you're creating on-brand content at scale, where does Adley's prioritization lie?
Yeah, thank you, Shivang. So actually, I want to
dive a little deeper. So, everybody wants to create marketing content. And the problem that we have right now is you can train your own agent, or, you can do a custom GPT. Most of the people would say, I want to use one model and do a custom GPT. That use case works very well for a small or medium-sized enterprise. But when you come, the problem that you stated, large enterprises are looking at it very differently. Their problem statements are very different. They want to protect their data. They want to have a system that is very secure, can actually work across multiple large language models, and also have their own workflows integrated. For them, all of these concerns come into play. But most Calvin mentioned that there are customers, you have customers in the US and other geographies. Same for us, we have customers in the Asia region at different levels of AI maturity. And the concerns that each one of them has is very different at every stage. For some of customers, the challenge is that I want to have efficiencies of AI, which I'm not able to do myself, and I don't want to hire a lot of AI engineers to train a brand voice to create a RAG-based model, or any model for that matter, so that I don't have to take that investment or that prompting, because we are soon moving to a world of zero prompt, no prompt writing. So the concerns that organizations have differ from what is the level of maturity that they have, and where in the journey, like Mackenzie said, where in the journey are they and how they want to scale from there on.
And especially when it comes to content, I don't think anyone in the history of corporate or content building would have got their first content output right? Because so many rewrites happening, and every time you start rewriting something, the narrative changes. And what you started with and what you end up with eventually sort of differs. But with that, you're able to control that.
Yeah, and what we are seeing now is the market has also changed dramatically. When we first started, people were just talking about social media marketing. Now, if you've seen in the last couple of days, there have been shopping agents which have been announced. There have been partnerships announced for e-commerce. Now, you'll be able to go to ChatGPT or any other agent and a chat interface. So conversation commerce is coming. And that is what we are gearing towards. There is going to be a remarkable difference of how content was written earlier and how the content discovery is happening now. Earlier, you could write a blog, write a social media post, and then spend a lot of money on ads. But now organic discovery is also changing. People are no longer going to just Google, they're going to ChatGPT, they're going to Perplexity, they're asking for answers. They don't want to scroll through 10 links. So the user behavior changes, and some of the brands, like to come back to the question that you asked, some of the brands are really ahead in that journey. They already have their databases, every data sets, everything sorted out, and they know how they want to utilize that to reach the intent-based commerce or intent-based search which is coming in the future.
So how many of the folks in the audience know about GEO as a keyword, Generative Engine Optimization? Right. So there's literally $1 trillion online search is getting disrupted, right? The SEO world is moving towards GEO. And what Tina is saying is basically the LLMs are now solving the problem of every Google or every search engine query that you did, wherein you type to say, hey, I want to eat in a good restaurant tonight, and you end up 1 hour trying to figure out from the 15 links what the best response is, right? And that best response now comes in the first prompt through LLMs. And what Adley tries to build is that GEO optimized content, so that you're not creating content for SEO to get discovered in the search listings. You're basically creating content that is solving or answering a question that people are asking, right? And that now has shifted to Perplexity, to ChatGPT, and all the LLM platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And the starting point of that, Shivang, is actually to know where you stand at the moment. So, you first have to start this journey by knowing whether, you're getting cited in a particular LLM. So audit becomes your first step to know, and how you do it is, there are a couple of ways to do it. You can sit and write these prompts and then search for your brand name on ChatGPT, you can go on Perplexity, you can go on any of these, or you could use platforms like Adly, which in a single go can help test across 10,000 prompts on all platforms and give you visibility score. So when you start that journey, then you will know whether your brand is visible anywhere and how, or whether your competitors are getting cited instead, and how you build your brand visibility from there on.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears towards a more safer, secure, and a more serious industry, right? So, Calvin, he's CTO of Pines AI. They create enterprise-grade, sort of like a full stack platform that could, in a way, rival capabilities of a cloud hyperscaler. But their focus is on creating almost hallucination-free reports at scale. Right? And especially that the focus is on insurance, on fintech, on BFSI, the entire banking sector. He knows the problem statements of the customers. Not sure how many folks are from the BFSI sector, how many of you guys being analysts in your life, and how many hours and days you spend creating reports again and again and again. Their solution sort of automates entire report generation. So to you, the question, how does decentralized models improve regulatory compliance and auditability for a financial client versus ChatGPT? I know what your response is going to be, but I just want to know your thought process for the audience.
Right. So first of all, thank you for the introduction. That's very, very kind words that you have for us. And also to answer this question, I'm just trying to keep this interesting for the audience as well. So I guess I won't be using too many of like industry player analogs. Try to keep it more closer to heart. I think the whole point about decentralization or against ChatGPT as a whole is that ChatGPT is this one central figure. You can imagine it as a server somewhere. You can imagine Sam Altman's space somewhere. That controls and holds all of your data. And whether rightfully or wrongfully, the versions of ChatGPT 1 after another, ChatGPT 4 after 3, 5 after 4, and eventually you have 6 after 5, is actually you guys. You guys are the products of the ChatGPT X, right? So we really don't know like at which point some of these data that we put into ChatGPT is gonna bite us back. At the same time, I think like from a privacy standpoint, does it make sense to even have a centralized, someone with so much power in terms of holding data and collecting them en masse to exist? So I think some pushback has to be there. And I think decentralization, if at scale, if possible, should be at a level where no one should be able to own the data, but yet everyone owns the data. No one owns the model, owns the flow, but yet everyone owns the flow. And then like we have like within Web3 all this self-regulating mechanism that can incentivize the network and all that. I think that is quite a good future to work towards. And at the end of the day, like if you have corporates coming on board to also utilize these networks, just because they're secure, they're also traceable. I think they can potentially move a lot of workloads onto these chains or networks as well.
So, from what I understood, right, your solution is also on-prem because all of these enterprises and then companies do not want the LLMs to get access to their data, right? So, in that sense, there's always a question of what value does open source models provide versus actually utilizing the enterprise version of ChatGPT or Perplexity.
Right. So
yeah, sorry. How do you tackle that for Pines AI?
Yeah. So anyway, we have not seen any of these questions, so I could be talking nonsense because like none of this is everything on the spot.
He's a PhD from SCTV and they've actually done like solid work. They've actually also created like a tiny small language model by distilling, like a large language model. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we are creators of models. So we do have a 1.5 billion parameter model. People download it and use it and all. But specific to that question, right? I feel that in a lot of instances when we talk about private models on-prem,
the fundamental issue that people are trying to get around is the fact that you need something private. And this need of something private may not need to be solved directly by just being on-prem. You can have many ways to solve it, but I don't think people view any of the big AI being Claude, Anthropic, your Perplexity or ChatGPT, OpenAI, kind of pledge to your data protection as a way, a definitive way to say that, oh, my data is therefore private because they have pledged to do so. So therefore, many ways to skin a cat. On-premise is one big way, and it's the only way that we can't currently be a Web 2, right? So the only way that a Web 2 company knows how. But a Web 3, when we start to integrate things in Web 3 and get all this encryption and also decentralized sort of thing going on, it fundamentally solves the problem because like then no one holds your data to say that I have all jurisdiction over your data, right? So nothing is held hostage, everything is decentralized. Fundamentally, it's a solution as well, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Jackie, right? So I just met him like 2 hours back, right? And the first thing we talked about was, like how he's working on some creative aspects of AI technology. So, and that's very close to my heart because one of the things why we had started Generative Beings was because I personally feel that generative AI is one of those technologies that sort of mimic the way, like humans have evolved. I know it's like a huge analogy to make, but I've seen my daughter grow over the last 1-2 years, and just to see, like how the learning and the creative aspects of it, the LLMs are sort of mimicking basically what humans are doing, right? We have a lot of conversations around productivity, cost cutting, savings. We rarely talk about how this technology is helping creators and creativity scale, right? Your experience in building these creative outcomes, what's your take on can decentralized models provide a better playground for creators compared to these closed-source models?
So this is quite a lot of things to unpack, but maybe first set off some questions right in the crowd. Any one of you is an artist or creative? No one? Oh, okay, awesome. So the usage of generative AI in the creative field can be quite a divisive topic. For every artist or creative you ask about LLMs or like Gen AI, one will say we love it, the other one will hate it. I think no other fields have had this much divisiveness in it. And when you peel the layers of this anger, some say anger, hatred even, it evokes very strong emotions in those practitioners. So let's do a quick thought exercise, right? Suppose you draw a drawing, right? You draw a drawing, it's on the table, nothing happens, you're happy. But what if I come over, I take your image, right? And I sort of copy and modify it, and then I submit it to an art competition, and I win it. How would you feel? You'd be mad, right? And more importantly, I win the competition, I win some money, and then I don't share the money with you. Doubly mad, right? So what I'm trying to get into here is the problem, or rather the issue, the challenge of attribution, right? When you use generative AI regularly, right? Like let's say in the regular field, we're not talking about decentralized yet. But we're talking about, say, your vanilla LLMs and whatnot. There's no attribution to the original source content. How? Firstly, it's how, right? How do you even do it? How do I attribute this image that I've generated from, say, OpenAI, for example, to the source materials that it was inspired from? I say inspired because that's how it works pretty much, right? Take the patterns, you distill it, and then you generate additional images based on the inspiration that it has. Now, so with that backdrop, with that, it also creates this very fundamental feeling of unfairness within creators because they take their work and then the work is then, cast into the void of that is LM, and then something new comes out. Right, and it's so you feel this sense of helplessness, you feel this sense of powerlessness because as a creator, there's nothing you can do. Now, what if there's a way for you to understand and know where each and every piece of your work is going to? What if there's actually a way to attribute the value of your work? Now this is the promise where decentralized AI comes in, right? Like the fact you're able to own your creative work, the fact that you're able to say, hey, this particular image of mine is able to train a model, and therefore whatever it made, whatever output it has, whatever creative outcome and the dollar value to it can then be traced back to me. Now this, the feel is a bit different. You now feel a bit better because you now know that, hey, actually, my output here is no longer stolen, right? Stealing, it's a very strong word to use, but that's how we feel about it within the community. So to answer your question, deAI is exciting in the sense that you're now able to attribute value to your work. And that's something that regular LMs have done and not been, and creators feel very unfair about. So this is how I can position it.
So in a way, it's basically tokenization of ownership, right?
Yeah.
And then like a digital footprint to say that, like a stamp or like a signature to say that this is owned by you.
Yeah.
But when you look at, there's so many right now sort of cases against the big companies, right, where they used fair or unfair, whatever, but they basically used a lot of existing data of other platforms and content providers to train their models, right? And the jury is still not out on who's the right person. And in this case, what do creators do? Do they go to the decentralized AI models, right, open source use cases or examples to help them protect their IP, or should they still continue to build on top of ChatGPT, Claude, all the other private cloud providers, LLM providers, sorry?
Right. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, given that there's still a lot of ambiguity around the outcomes of these lawsuits, right? The jury is still out there on. It's quite exciting, right? Like when you look at the outcome, no matter what, right? Whether the publishers, for example, win or they lose, it's going to set the precedent ahead for many years to come as to how information is used for training LLMs. So before I answer that, right, I maybe look at a field that have seemed to excited creators previously, NFTs, right? So let's talk a bit about NFTs. We can't go into the protection of IP for creative works without looking at things like NFTs. NFTs had very similar promises in the past, right? To protect one's IP, to monetize it, and to somehow attribute value to it. Has it fulfilled its promise, despite it being maybe 1 or 2 cycles ago? Again, jury's still out there. You have a very long tail distribution of people who benefited from this. And I imagine to be the same case for the next generation of technology, in this case deAI, right? The protection of IP through deAI.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid using NFT as an example, obviously for the obvious reason, because there's like a fat cycle to it, but I do believe that there's like real value in ownership, like a digital ownership of content. Last sort of question, like a common one to all of you, right? So you already answered this, right? But I'll move on to then Calvin. Calvin, in your industry, right? Where do you see the future going? Is it something that the solution that you're trying to build for the BFSI sector, for insurance finance, you feel that the open source models will sort of win the game, or you'll still be in sort of a hybrid state or focus completely on pure play, big, large language models?
It's difficult to predict, honestly. Again, I think that there's value to having open source models in the sense that you have large models on very big companies that have a lot of resources that will train model for specific purpose, general purposes, which are like good for the general public. But then you're gonna have to need open source models to perform tasks that may not ordinarily be good for the general models to perform, because you probably want to fine-tune them into certain. I'll find it very difficult that, like, for example, you can use OpenAI or Claude to fine-tune a cancer with sort of like a cancer identification model. I mean, like, I think that they should be trying to fix that, but at the meantime, they are going after a different space altogether. So you're gonna have to have people have the resources, give them the resources, open source models to kind of do that. At the same time, I think like it's not so much about who will win, but that we will all be in the future where we, I mean, like if you look at Web3, we know that we are going towards a future where we have we've broken down a lot of barriers of payments, by the way, right? Like, I know it's a very quaint old thing, crypto and payment, but we've broken down a lot of barriers. So I think AI will likewise break down a lot of barriers in terms of things that we couldn't do before and now we can do, or we can free up time to, when the barrier to us ending work on time was that we still have hours of work to do, now AI can do it for us. Could be very exciting future to look forward to. Yeah.
Thanks, Calvin. So Tina, do you think open source models or closed source models are going to drive the next wave of innovation for content creation?
Yeah, every day it changes, right? It depends on which is the best one, and we work around with a lot of models. So we use open source models as well, and we have models like Anthropic models, OpenAI models. So when GPT-5 came, you know, so the different use cases that we are feeding models suit. Sometimes if you need a lot more inference, you need a lot more context window to give it a lot of data and to come up with an inference, to come up with some analysis. There are different models which will be used. And again, like I said, you know, it also depends on what the client wants. You know, Calvin said that some clients want things on-prem, some clients want it on their own secure cloud, some want to use it just like a SaaS, right? And for them, performance, cost. So there's so many factors that come into play, and it's very hard because things keep changing so dynamically depending on. So what we try to do is try to keep up ourselves to recommend the right solution to the client depending on what they are looking for. If they are price sensitive, then you would go with, you know, something which works on their kind of data set. If not, then functionality, then you go with models that can serve them better.
So it's based on the use case and all,
Yeah.
there's a room to play for both
Yes,
sides.
for both, yeah.
Last question, Mackenzie. Yours is about building agentic flows, right? There are conversations of large action models coming up, right? So you have Manus AI, you have GenSpark, you've got multiple horizontal agentic players that are coming in. Same question, right? Do you feel that in this scenario, the future is going to be owned by open source models, or do you feel that you'll still be heavily, you know, like relying on closed source models for large action and use cases?
And I think it's well, it's a slightly different question, very similar answer. I think it's going to really depend on the use case that the client is looking at. And in a sense, this is just like another technology wave. If we were sat on a panel years ago talking about the shift from on-premises to public cloud, I think it would be really easy to say like, hey, this new thing is going to be the thing and the winner. But then if we look at what's happened, so many have chosen to go for this hybrid model or do a bit of both. And I think the same is could be said here, really. There are pros and cons to both sides. I think with some of the decentralized sides of things, like yeah, you've got the pros of transparency, data sovereignty, but where things are today, you don't have the scalability or the integration with enterprise applications, for example, that you do with the large centralized models. But then you've got other challenges that come with that. So I think that there will continue to be advancements, but there's not going to be a winner. And I think having that choice is key.
Thanks, Mackenzie. So my final outcome of that conversation was that, as Jackie rightly said, it's a divisive world, right? I think like both sides will have a play in the game, but depending on the use case and what the client wants, right? That's really key, because that's what we are here to deliver, right? To solve their problem, irrespective of the technology, tech stack, or whatever solution it is. You need to figure out how to solve that problem. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on the panel. I hope it was conversational good enough. We have a question. Yeah. We'll take one and then we'll close, because then I think there's the next round.
So maybe I shout from here. Sorry if I...
it's okay, you can take this.
Thanks. Sorry, I came late. Maybe I missed the earlier session. But the first question I want to check is, how do you guys decentralize your AI model or the application? Open question, yeah, how do you guys decentralize your AI model or the application?
Decentralized, right? I think so. The first thing is that models may not just sit in one place. So you can have models sitting in different places, and it acts as a so decentralization down here helps with resiliency in the sense that if some parts of the network can go down, you can then go for other places. But if you're talking about actual decentralization of like the model weights and layers, so that you can like shoot out one and then goes out to a decentralized network and come back, I think that technology is already there and it's a very Web3 thing. I don't have the expertise to answer that, unfortunately. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Put it very well for all of us. Yeah. I think you have multiple on-prem.
So maybe your question behind that is because you want to know how to do decentralization?
Yeah, because the RLM all are dominated by the big AI players. Right. So I wonder, how do you guys decentralize the AI model, or is it on another layer?
Maybe we take that offline. Yeah.
Okay, I think we do need to move on. So yeah. Thank you, everyone.
So thanks for that question. I think that will be the end. But yeah, the folks are here, right? So definitely try and get a bite of the brains.
Thank you, everyone. So.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, you can take more questions afterwards in the networking time. So we can move forward to the next keynote. Please help me welcome Ian, Head of Research and DealFlow at ChainGPT, for a keynote on key factors to consider while launching a new Web3 project.
Thank you, everyone. That would look like me, though. Okay, well, I'm Ewan from ChainGPT. We have got multiple products and I'll be talking about that a bit in brief, but let's jump into the presentation. Thank you. Just to start with the context, more than 90% of the Web3 projects fail, even after, like within 1 to 2 years, and even faster these days in the current market. They're despite raising billions, and similarly, looking back at data from 2022 Q2 alone, it was like more than 700 million lost to the schemes, and the trend is still persisting into 2025. Into Q2 2025, there was more than 9 billion raised by Web3 startups, but they are again mostly limited to a small fraction of players. So that also is a bit of context here. And just wanted to talk a bit about the launchpad side. It's not only about the fundraising venues, it's also about the strategic partner for a growth, credibility, and exposure. That's what a project should be looking while launching a project, on the launchpad space. Now, definitely when launching a Web3 project, it requires balancing innovation with pragmatism. And there is no fit for all model at the moment, and I don't think there will ever be. So there are multiple factors that we need to consider. The most important one, of course, is the narrative and market positioning. The projects with clear narrative, utility, and vision have attracted more than like 5 times more community traction pre-TGE, such as RWA, modular blockchain, just to make sure the narrative is quite clear for the people to understand what exactly they are getting into. We recently launched a project called StateX and RWA project. They are very clear in their narrative. Everyone knew whenever the project was mentioned, they knew that it was the RWA narrative they were diving into. So there was clear utility, and also it showed very strong listing performance at TGE. And similarly, while we are in talks with projects to be launched on ChainGPT pad, we always push projects to refine their storytelling into 3 to 4 like simple viral messages that is picky and people can understand what is being delivered. Similarly, from the tokenomics design, it is again another important thing. We need to make sure that there is not like significant selling pressure coming at TGE, because TGE often like indicates how strong the project is going to be post TGE moving forward in 2 months and bringing the traction. So ideally, we try to keep it between 5 to 10%. TTS to be floating while backed by strong liquidity in the liquidity pool. Similarly, there are while designing the token models, there are multiple factors that we take into consideration, such as it mostly has to be utility driven, like staking, access, governance, farming, buyback and burn, revenue linked utility, and more importantly, there has to be immediate perceived value for the users when they are getting into a project. We as a launchpad, we help in designing the tokenomics that align with the current market, market sentiment, utility, their business model, and the overall company traction. Based on that, we try to make sure things like the tokenomics are and tokenomics is in the right spot. We also have found that the projects with more than 100K organic community followers in the socials like Telegram and Twitter, they show like 3 to 5 times strong price retention in the first 30 days of their TGE. We, as a launchpad, we help to orchestrate the InfoFi campaigns, airdrops, quiz, gamified campaigns, and strategic KOL onboarding when we launch a project on any launchpad. Let's say it's not only about ChainGPT, but overall the launchpad space. Recently, we have launched an InfoFi campaign for Black Mirror that created that had more than 8,000 participants or content creators, I would say, with more than 14,000 unique posts created on X, 16,000 token holders added, on-chain token holders, which is a very strong KPI for any projects to have. Similarly, there were followers in the X that were added, and impressions and engagements were also significantly increased. So InfoFi campaign is also doing good at the moment. If any project would want to launch and create the virality around the project, especially when it is close to the TGE. So yeah, and also it's also important to have the liquidity, like right amount of liquidity in place considering the initial market cap. Similarly, the right centralized exchanges to be onboarded and all these things based on the FTP, the community, post-TG traction, potential traction, what it's going to be like, the onboarded KOLs and all these things. So this is also another key factor in determining the success of the Web3 project. Yeah, next. Again, a strategic partnership and ecosystem fit is also one very strong component of making sure that the project's launch is successful in Web3. Recently, we have seen that many projects that have tier 1 backers have shown tendency to do better compared to the projects, even having better products than the projects that have that did well with tier 1 backers. So having tier 1 backers on board is very important in the current market, so that it's from perception point of view, it looks like a police or like good project. Similarly, the projects also should be able to leverage the ecosystem grants they are building, like especially from the chain perspective which they are building on. and also integrate the required networks and change whatever is relevant for their product and the token. And also, especially while working with any partners during the launch of the project, it's very important that the project should focus on user acquisition rather than just announcements and fundraising and such. So this is something that we see often missing, like projects have multiple partners in place, but the key thing that they miss to do is they miss to acquire the users that those partners have. So that is also very important thing to consider. From Launchpad's point of view, we try projects to introduce to the VCs, to the different ecosystems, different backers, different projects, different KOLs, whatever is needed. So yeah, that's from a strategic partnership and ecosystem point of view. Now, also it is important to look into post-launch growth and utility projects that have shipped the MVP or product close towards the TG have shown to have good retention of the traction post TG as well. So project always should aim at tokenizing the product when the product is live or ready to at least at least the MVP is ready, so that there will be a strong perception of the project being very strong. Now, of course, Launchpad's post-TG can help with community updates, connection with partners, integration, and anything that is needed that are within the range of Launchpad capacity. Also, regulatory and compliance awareness are also key factors as there is growing, increasing importance of the regulations and legal side. So the project should always aim at taking those things into consideration. Now, from Launchpad side, we can help structure token sales legally, like being KYC, AML, geo restriction, everything, like whatever compliance is needed, you can make it happen while doing the token sale. Now, this is the final thing, like launching a Web3 project is about balancing narrative, economics, liquidity, partners, backers, and community. Doing it in the right way often brings a lot of success for the project. Now, projects that partner with the right launch pads, they don't only launch the token, they launch the ecosystem. That is what, whenever a project is trying to tap into a launch pad, they need to think from that perspective. So it's not only about fundraising, it's more about launching your whole ecosystem and bringing it to the community that the launch pads have. Yeah. All right, thank you very much. Thank you for, I just gave it short, so yeah, thank you.
So much. Okay, guys, but last but not least, for our final and awaited keynote, please welcome Philip Boylander, co-founder and CEO at Cookie3 and core contributor at CookieDAO. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where are you going back? Let's have team.
By the way, we want to wake up at 6. This is done. We're going to sleep. Yeah. But you might ask questions to you. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
We're here as early as like 5.
You guys going strong. Very young. Very good. Learn a lot, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Some of them just can't. Some of them just can't. They kept pace too fast. I just went in my ear and came out by through. I would love to actually make a scene hit, but sometimes we just wouldn't. Oh, okay. Is there going to be a replay? Definitely, I will. It's a little sad.
It's on YouTube.
The club tomorrow. What is it? We can. Or you can integrate it.
Okay, everyone. So it will be quite quick. So basically, I want to tell you more about InfoFi today, and why the pure attention isn't kind of enough for marketing agents, like marketing campaigns, and generally go to market. We strongly believe in Cookie that the attention metric can be gained, can be manipulated, and it's not an ultimate metric that we should take into account, at least not only. That's why we think powering it with capital is the right way to go, and I will tell you why. Stop looking. Yeah, so let's get back and see how everything was evolving in terms of like marketing campaigns and generally go to market in Web3. So we were having this like Quest era where like there were some providers that were kind of requiring some tasks that were to be done by the communities for small rewards. And obviously, how it ended up, we all know it was kind of gamed, and after a few months, actually no one was caring about the views and the likes anymore, because we were knowing that they were just like artificial and are not providing any value behind. Then yeah. And then the airdrop era came, so people were farming different engagement mechanisms, including the Twitter content and tweets, and basically everyone were thinking that this is providing some value, but at the end it turned out that it also can be gamed, and there were like too many extractors of the value than the providers, so we ended up again with actually knowing that, and at the end every project that was actually kind of running such airdrop campaign with engagement farming ended up pretty badly. And then we had this like, and now we are kind of in the InfoFi era, where the mindshare, which is much more tangible and effective metric to measure the attention and the performance of it, came where different providers, including Cookie, are actually measuring the mindshare, and based on that we can quantify the attention and the value of it for the particular projects. And the open question is how it will actually end up at the end. And to sum it up, we have this Quest era, airdrops era, InfoFi era, and probably we are some kind of at the end of InfoFi era, where we are only purely basing everything on the mindshare. And we believe that the next stage of the evolution will be to link the attention with capital. Whether you will call it InfoFi 2.0 or attention plus capital era, anyway, we strongly believe that the capital is this missing element for actually measuring the effectiveness and the performance of different marketing activities. and it can be actually seen from the data we were aggregating recently. So basically the red area is the number of regular tweets, and the blue one is the InfoFi tweets. So basically you see that we are kind of behind the peak of farming tweets in the InfoFi era, and probably this will only be dropping relative to regular tweets. And that's why we are actually defining and recognizing this situation as shown on this previous slide, that we are actually here, somewhere here. And what's the actual answer to that? So we think, and we aim to actually prove that, that not only posting and accruing attention is important, but also the conviction of the people that are talking about something and are influencing the real capital. So we believe that the conviction and the influence of the capital is the right way of actually proving the real value behind your content, your takes, your predictions, your bets, and so on. Because no one will actually believe you in the long term when you are only posting some content for InfoFi campaigns without actually backing those projects by investment, by usage, by TVL providing liquidity or volume, depending on the case. So we think that like the attention without the action is just a noise ultimately, and the attention that actually influence the action is the real signal and value. And to actually prove that, those are like the first two ACM, so like attention capital markets campaigns that we launched for our clients. So the Almanac is the first one, which right now is running since like 2 months or something, and their TVL increased up to 90 mil from zero, thanks to boosting the mindshare by the influence of the capital and by providing this TVL. So it simply works that whoever is providing TVL to Almanac, they can get multiplier for their mindshare, so ultimately they are getting more points for the InfoFi cookie snap campaign, thanks to which not only talking about Almanacs gives you more airdrop opportunities, but also providing a real capital behind or referring this capital behind your network. And the same with Lab, which recently was 30 times oversubscribed at Legion, with which we have actually partnership for pre-sales. So attention capital markets works like we are multiplying the mindshare by the capital influence or provided, committed, but on the other hand, it wouldn't be possible to do it for the pre-sales and pre-product projects. That's why we partner with Legion to enable that for the pre-TG tokens and projects. So, for example, investment in the pre-sale can be such capital commitment that will multiply your mindshare you are sharing about specific project. And to prove that Legion is the good partner to work with, you can see the screenshot from like an hour ago from 150 mil deposits to yield basis, which is the pre-sale they are doing with Kraken right now, which only grew to 150 mil in like 20 hours. So it's quite significant. So this is it for our very brief keynote and takeaways on like what's coming next for Web3 marketing and what we will be experiencing probably very soon in terms of the next phase after this first version of InfoFi. Thank you.
Thank you for the great insights, and thank you everyone for coming. And on behalf of Pundi X, Pundi AI, Flock.io, and the Generative Beings, thank you for being part of our deAI Summit 2025. I'm Gabby. See you out there. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Have you finished your interview? Sorry? Yeah. Cool. So we will post and we will tag you. Okay, perfect. Appreciate it. I like the cookie. Thank you. Thank you.